Welcome to Eerie Trail, where forgotten roads, haunted silence, and long shadows tell stories no one else dares to remember. If you're drawn to the strange, the lost, and the unsettling, you're in the right place. Like the video, drop your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more stories that don't just scare, they stay with you. She followed me after I blocked her. That sounds like the kind of thing someone makes up for attention online. Like those Reddit horror stories where everything falls together too neatly and the ending wraps up like a Netflix original. But this wasn't like that. It started online, yeah, like so many damn things do now, but it didn't stay there. It leaked into my life, into the dry dirt and rusting trailer parks outside Austin where I grew up, into the quiet gas stations along I-35, into the way I don't sleep right anymore unless all the windows are locked, and I've got my deadbolt rigged with a strip of masking tape just to see if someone tries it. Her name was Anna, or at least, that's what her profile said. I'm a mechanic. I post on Instagram for fun. Little time-lapse videos of engine rebuilds, weird roadside cars I come across, shots of old trucks I find abandoned and rotting along county roads, with captions like, "Rip this 74 F100, someone left her to die." Not exactly influencer content. Still, I had a couple thousand followers, mostly other gearheads and local folks. She started liking everything I posted. At first, I thought it was some bot. She had that kind of profile. Almost no posts, a profile picture that was just her face in low light, barely a smile, staring dead into the camera. Something about it felt off, but she wasn't a bot. She started commenting, "This one looks like it used to be loved. Sad to see something beautiful go to waste." I can hear it crying. Weird stuff, poetic almost. I didn't reply. I just ignored it. The way you do. Then she DM'd me. The first message just said, "I like how your hands look in the videos." I didn't respond. A day later, "I bet you smell like grease and metal and sun. I'd like that." I showed it to my buddy Co-op, who helps out at the shop sometimes. He laughed it off. "Bro, you got a fan. Ain't that bad." But something about it crawled under my skin. It wasn't flirty. It was possessive. Like she already knew me, the way an ex talks, not a stranger. The last message she sent before I blocked her was a photo. It was my truck, parked in front of my trailer, taken from maybe 30 feet away through the bush by the chain link fence. At night. No caption. I blocked her right then. Felt like my guts had turned to water. I checked outside, nothing. No sound, no footsteps. I even turned off all the lights and stared out through the blinds for almost an hour. 2 days passed. Nothing. I started to think maybe it was a bluff. Maybe she'd used some old Google Street View shot and cleaned it up to look recent. I wanted to believe that. Then I started noticing things. Tiny things. My gas cap was open one morning. Not off, just open. The air freshener inside the cab was twisted around, backwards. A smudge on the inside of my windshield that I didn't put there, too small to be mine. Like from the palm of someone with smaller hands. I got a camera, one of those motion sensor trail cams hunters use. I strapped it to a tree facing the driveway, set it to record. Next morning, I checked the footage. Midnight, silence. Then, at 2:13 a.m., something moves. She's there. Standing just off the gravel, half behind the tree, pale, still, watching the truck. Long black hair, barefoot, wearing what looked like one of those oversized white t-shirts girls sleep in. She didn't move for almost 5 full minutes. Just stood there. Then she walked forward, slow and soft, like she was afraid to wake someone. She ran one finger along the side of the truck, got to the driver's door, pressed her cheek to the window, stayed like that. I unplugged the camera, packed it up, called Co-op. He told me to call the cops. I did. Sheriff's deputy came out. Took a look, said it was probably just some local crazy and that they'd patrol more often. I asked if I could get a restraining order. He said, "Against who? You don't even know her last name." I didn't sleep that night. I barely slept the week after. I started carrying. Glock 19 in the glove box, same one my dad gave me when I turned 21. Never thought I'd need it off the range. Then she started leaving things. A scrap of cloth. Tied to the gate. Looked like the sleeve of a shirt with a small blood stain on the edge. A little toy car, painted matte black, left on my doorstep. A Polaroid photo of the back of my head while I was working under the hood. I couldn't eat. Couldn't think straight. Even at the shop, I kept looking over my shoulder. Co-op noticed, said I looked like I was detoxing or something. I told him. Everything. He went pale. That night, we sat on my porch with a couple rifles and waited. She didn't come. Next morning, Co-op was gone. Said he was staying at his sister's place in San Antonio for a while. You need cameras, man. Real ones. You need to get the hell out of here. I tried. I packed a bag. Got in the truck. Started driving north. I didn't even have a destination, just a way. Made it about 40 miles before the check engine light. Came on. Truck started bucking like a Bronco. I pulled over. Fuel line had been cut. Not all the way, just enough to spray and starve the engine. Clean slice. Razor or box cutter. I sat in the cab with the windows up, hand on the Glock, and waited. For dawn. When the sun came up, I fixed the line and turned back. I don't know why. Maybe some part of me thought if I just confronted her, if I caught her, it'd be over. I started leaving bait. Set up a dummy account and posted fake pictures. Back at the shop today. Headed to Marble Falls. Things like that. And every time something happened. If I said I was home, I'd find new smudges on the windows. If I said I was out, something would be moved. She was watching, always watching. Then, about a week ago, everything stopped. No signs, no objects. No smudges or photos. 3 days of silence. Then I got a letter in the mail. No return address. Inside, a single photo. Of me, asleep in bed. Taken. From inside the room. And at the bottom, in tiny scrawled writing, "You shouldn't have blocked me." I left that night. Didn't pack. Didn't even take the truck. I bought a bus ticket with cash and rode it all the way to Lubbock. Checked into the cheapest motel I could find. I sleep during the day now. Keep the lights on all night. I don't use social media anymore. I got a new phone, new number, new name. But some nights, around 2 a.m., I swear I hear a knock on the door. Just one soft deliberate and sometimes, in the silence after, I think I hear her breathing. I saw my own missing poster in a stranger's story. It was a Friday night in early June when it happened. The air thick and humid like it gets around Houston this time of year. And the cicadas were just starting their slow burn drone in the trees outside my apartment. I was sitting on my cracked leather couch, nursing a beer that had gone warm, scrolling mindlessly through reels on Instagram, the way you do when you're too tired to sleep but too wired to rest. Most of it was the usual makeup tutorials, car crash compilations, cats doing something vaguely human. I was halfway through a clip of some guy exploring an abandoned hospital when I hit one of those stitched stories. You know the kind. A Reddit thread read out by a robotic voice. Set over video of someone making ramen in a hotel room or poking around a dark warehouse. The voice said, "This happened to me about a year ago. I was driving through rural Texas, just outside of Schulenburg, when I picked up a hitchhiker. The guy narrating didn't show his face, just his hands, grainy video of a dashboard at night, grainier still of open road, a figure in the distance. It was the kind of thing you'd usually scroll past, except I knew that stretch of road. I'd driven it before, countless times. My aunt lived out there. just off County Road 958. I kept watching. The narrator kept talking. He looked normal. Skinny, maybe 30, dark hair, jeans, and a red flannel shirt. Said he was headed north, didn't have a car. I didn't catch his name. And then they cut to the hitchhiker. A still image, grainy, low res, probably shot on a dash cam or cheap phone. But it was me standing on the shoulder, thumb out, wearing the flannel I lost months ago. My heart kicked sideways in my chest. I blinked, hit pause, stared at it like maybe it would morph into someone else. But it didn't. It was me. Same jawline, same hair, same busted up red wings I wore when I worked at the steel yard. It wasn't some doppelganger. It was me, and I had no memory of it. The rest of the video was weirder. The narrator said I didn't speak much, just stared out the window. That I got out at a gas station near Waco without saying a word. He said I left behind a photo in the back seat, black and white, scratched up, of a house with boarded windows and a date written on the back, the 2nd of September 97. He still had the photo. Showed it on screen. The house was familiar. It was the house I grew up in, back in Garland. We moved out when I was 10 after the fire. My dad never talked about it, said it was bad wiring, said we were lucky no one died. I hadn't seen that house in over 20 years. The next thing in the video was what really got me. The narrator said, after I posted about the hitchhiker online, someone messaged me. Said the guy looked like someone they knew, sent me a missing poster. And then they showed it. It was my face. A photo I hadn't seen in years, taken during my first year at Sam Houston State. I was thinner then, smiling, kind of. Eyes a little glassy. Probably high. Missing, it read in big red letters. Name, Daniel Mercer. Last seen, March 5th, 10th. 2023. Age, 32. Height, 5 feet 11. Weight, 170 pounds. Last known location, Montgomery County, TX. I stared at it for a long time. I paused the video, read the text over and over, my name, my face, my birthday. All of it matched, except I wasn't missing. I lived alone, yeah, and I kept to myself, sure, but I went to work, paid bills, hit up the gas station every other day. My boss knew me. So did the cashier at the corner store. I was here, right? I started calling people. First my mom. She didn't answer, which wasn't weird. She worked overnights at the hospital. Then my boss. Voicemail. Then co-op, the same buddy who helped me out when my truck broke down last winter. Double quotes, yo, Dan. He said groggy, "What's up, man?" I asked him if I'd ever gone missing. If anything weird had happened to me in the past year. He laughed, asked if I was drunk. I said I wasn't. I told him about the video. He paused. Then he said, "You sure you're not just forgetting stuff again?" That hit me in the gut. Because I do forget things. There are gaps, days, where I wake up and don't remember the day before. Times I find things moved in my apartment that I don't remember touching. I once found dirt under my fingernails and burrs in my socks and had no clue how they got there. I always thought it was just stress or sleepwalking. But now I found the Instagram account that posted the video. Messaged the guy. He didn't respond. I found the Reddit thread. It came from over 10,000 upvotes. The comments were the usual mix of skeptics and believers. A few people said it was staged. But one comment chilled me. This guy looks just like the one I saw outside Austin 2 weeks ago. Standing by the railroad tracks. Same shirt, same dead eyes. I haven't been to Austin since college. Or at least I think I haven't. I started looking through my things. Found that red flannel. Stuffed in the back of the closet. Smelled like smoke. Like pine and something sharp, ozone or metal. There was something in the pocket. A photo. The same black and white one from the video. The house. The boarded windows. The date on the back. 9/2/97. I started shaking. Dropped it. That was the day of the fire. The one Dad said was wiring, but I remembered. Something then, something I'd forgotten for years. I was home when it started. Playing with my sister in the attic. She'd found a box of weird old photos up there. Old people in weird clothes. Standing in front of that same house decades ago. She said the pictures were watching us. That the eyes moved. I laughed at her. Called her a baby. Then she screamed. And then the fire started. They never found her. Just said she must have been trapped up there. Only, I knew she wasn't. She'd already run outside. I saw her from the attic window. She was standing at the tree line, staring back, and she didn't look scared. She looked calm, like she'd been waiting for it. I don't know what's happening to me now. I think I'm losing time. Last night, I woke up standing outside. No shoes. Mud on my legs. A new photo in my hand. Another house. Different this time. Written on the back. You're next. The date says the 3rd of July 25. That's today. He knew everything I posted, but I never accepted his follow request. It started as something small, almost forgettable, like so many things that turn out to be the beginning of something awful. His name, or at least his handle, was @_lastlight. No profile picture, no bio, and 0 followers. But he followed me. I didn't follow back. This was during my last semester at Texas State, out in San Marcos. I was still in that liminal post-high school fog, just coasting on late night. Coffee, cheap tacos, and the hope that someday I'd figure out what the hell I was doing with my life. I posted often, mostly on Instagram, nothing deep, nothing artistic. Just my cat, Reggie, photos of breakfast, selfies with bad lighting in my bathroom mirror, sunsets over the Blanco River, stupid videos of my roommate dancing in the kitchen. That kind of thing. It was a Tuesday morning when I first noticed the notification. @_lastlight requested to follow you. I remember thinking the name sounded overly dramatic, like one of those accounts used to stalk exes. I ignored it. Didn't even think to block him. I wasn't paranoid then, but that night, something strange happened. I posted a story of Reggie, curled up on the windowsill like he always did around sundown. I added a song, something moody, probably Phoebe Bridgers. Standard stuff. A few minutes later, I got a message request from @_lastlight. No text, just a photo of Reggie. Same position, same window, same golden light filtering through the blinds, but not the one I posted. It was taken from outside the apartment, from ground level. I lived on the second floor. I didn't respond. My stomach flipped over and settled somewhere near my knees. I deleted the story and turned on every light in the apartment. My roommate, Janelle, was out with her boyfriend, so I locked the doors, double-checked the windows, even made sure the balcony was clear. Nothing. I didn't sleep much. The next morning, the account was still there. Still following 0 people, still with no posts, but now it had 1 follower. Me. I didn't follow him. I never followed him. I blocked the account. And for about a week, I tried to forget it. Told myself it was a troll, a glitch, some dumb joke. It almost worked until the packages started coming. The first one was small. Brown envelope, no return address. Inside was a Polaroid. Black and white, a little warped, like it had been left in someone's glove box too long. It was me. Taken from behind. I was walking to campus. I could tell from the backpack I was wearing, the old green one with the frayed zipper, and the way I always wore my earbuds tangled across my chest. The timestamp scrawled across the bottom said 4:23 p.m., which was exactly when I would have been walking through Sewell Park on the way to my 4:30 seminar. No note. Just the photo. I went to campus security. Showed them the envelope. The woman behind the desk, Officer Terrell, I remember now, gave me that polite, half-concerned expression that said she thought I was either overreacting or wasting her time. You have any idea who might have sent this? She asked. Double quotes, no. Just a weird Instagram account. I blocked it. You know this could be just a prank. Someone messing with you. Then how'd they get the photo? She shrugged. People post where they are all the time. I walked out of there feeling like an idiot. But that didn't stop me from changing my locks. Or installing a camera outside the door, one of those little motion-triggered ones you can sync with. Your phone. The next package came a few days later. This one was heavier. A small cardboard box. Inside, another Polaroid and something else, something wrapped in tissue paper. The photo showed me asleep in bed, hair sprawled across the pillow. From the angle, it had to be taken from the foot of the bed. My heart punched a hole in my ribs just looking at it. I couldn't remember if I'd locked the bedroom window that night. The wrapped item was a piece of fabric, my scarf. The yellow one I thought I lost 2 months ago. I checked my phone. The camera hadn't caught anything, but there was a new message, not on Instagram. In my DMs on Twitter, an account I rarely used. The message said, "Why won't you let me follow?" You? That was it. The handle was different this time, at Lightbefferegan. Same 0 follower, 0 following setup. Same blank profile. But somehow, he always found me. That night I deleted every social account I had. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Even the stupid Pinterest board I used for recipe ideas. I scrubbed my email, wiped my history, removed my name from every People Finder website I could find. I even deleted my Venmo, but he kept finding me. A week passed. Then, too, I started to think maybe it was over. Maybe whoever it was got bored. I dropped my last semester class. I barely left the apartment. Janelle started staying at her boyfriend's place full time. I didn't blame her. Then one morning, I woke up and my phone was sitting on the knit stand. Unlocked. I always locked it. Always. There was a new app installed. When I didn't download. It had no name. Just an icon, a small white eye on a black background. I opened it. There were photos. Hundreds of them. Of me. Sleeping, eating, walking to class, folding laundry, crying, sitting on the toilet, changing clothes. Every angle, every room, every day. The last one was from moments ago. Me, in bed, eyes half open, staring into the screen. I dropped the phone. When I picked it up again, the app was gone. The photos were gone, but I know what I saw. I moved home after that, back to my parents' house in Garland. Deleted every bit of my digital life. Got a flip phone. Started using cash. I barely go outside. I haven't told anyone the full story, not even my therapist. Just bits and pieces. They say paranoia isn't unreasonable when someone's actually watching you. Last week, I checked my mail for the first time in days. There was a letter. No stamp. Just slipped in. Inside was a single note, handwritten in red ink. You can delete the account, but I still follow you. It was almost 2 a.m. when Josh went live. I was already in bed, half asleep, phone in hand, thumb lazily flicking through Instagram stories when the notification buzzed at the top of my screen. _Josh_Wright is going live. Join. Josh and I had been best friends since 8th grade, bonded over metal bands, horror movies, and a shared hatred for marching band practice. He'd always had a taste for the weird and morbid, especially after his brother died in that motorcycle crash on FM 529. Lately, though, he'd been spiraling into some darker corners. Old abandoned places, local legends, ghost hunting forums, all of it. He called it urban archaeology, but it always felt more like he was chasing something. I tapped the notification out of habit, The screen opened to blackness at first, just muffled footsteps and heavy breathing. Then, slowly, the camera swung up to show Josh's face, pale in the glow of his phone, eyes wide, breath misting in the cold. The video was grainy, lit only by the flashlight attached to his camera. "Okay," he whispered. "I think I found it." The chat was already filling with people, maybe 30 or 40 of them. Emojis, jokes, people telling him to turn back, others egging him on. "Where the hell are you?" I typed. A second later, he read my message and smirked. "Hey, Marcus. I didn't tell you 'cause you'd tried to talk me out of it. But I'm finally here. It's real." "What's real?" Someone else asked. Josh turned the camera around slowly. A chain-link fence loomed ahead, rusted, slumped, with a massive nitrogen monoxide trespassing state property sign barely hanging on. Beyond it, the land dipped into overgrown brush and passed. That, barely visible, was a structure. Low, concrete, bunker-like. Covered in graffiti and vines. It was the old Waller County Cold War shelter. At least. That's what the internet called it. Locals had other names. The Drain, the Gray Pit, the Hum. The rumor was, back in the 60s, the government built it deep underground as part of a civil defense program. Some people said it was a fallout shelter. Others swore it was used for experiments. No one knew for sure. It had been shut down since '89 after a series of deaths, workers, mostly. A cave-in, supposedly. But there were always whispers of something else. Something that never made it into the papers. And of course, it wasn't open to the public. "Dude, this is dumb," I wrote. "Seriously, get out of there." But Josh ignored me. He climbed the fence, cursing when his jacket snagged on the metal. The camera jostled wildly, and for a few seconds all we saw were flashes of dirt and sky. Then he was through, jogging down the embankment toward the concrete entrance. "You guys seeing this?" he whispered. "There's no lock. Doors open." The chat went nuts. People spamming emojis, yelling at him to go in or run. I kept typing. "Don't do it. You're alone. This isn't a game." He didn't even glance at the screen. He pushed the door. It creaked open slowly, revealing nothing but darkness. He switched to his front camera one last time, his face pale. "Serious now. If I don't come back out," he said, half smiling, "tell my mom I died doing dumb shit." Then he stepped inside. The light from his phone caught bare walls. Concrete, damp, covered in mildew and strange stains. The air looked thick, like it smelled awful, even through the screen. Every sound echoed, his breath, his footsteps, the creak of the old door swinging shut behind him. Then something clicked behind him. The door. It closed hard. Josh spun around, ran to it, pulled, nothing. No handle on the inside, no latch. He cursed, shoved, kicked. Nothing. "Okay," he said, trying to keep his voice steady. "Guess I'm locked in. That's fine. There's supposed to be another exit, right?" He started down the corridor, filming the walls. They were covered in numbers and symbols, some etched deep into the surface, some scratched in what looked like charcoal or maybe something darker. At one point, he passed a room filled with metal beds, rusted frames with moldy mattresses, straps hanging from the corners. He zoomed in on one. There were gouges in the concrete floor beneath it, like someone had been dragged back and forth, over and over. The further he went, the worse it got. The air grew heavier. The signal lagged. His breathing got louder. At some point, I stopped looking at the chat. Everyone was screaming variations of "get out" or "run." But we were too far in. Josh whispered into the mic, "I think someone's here." He turned the camera slowly. Down the corridor, maybe 30 feet away, was a figure, still, facing the wall, not moving, just standing there. Josh whispered, "Sir?" Then a little louder, "Hey, you okay?" The figure didn't move. Josh took a step forward. The figure twitched, not like a flinch or a startle, more like a glitch. A sudden stutter, like something skipped a frame in real life, and then it turned. But not all the way. The head just swiveled. Slowly, far too far, bones cracking as it turned to face the camera. The face was wrong. I don't know how else to say it. It wasn't blurred. It wasn't covered. It was wrong, like someone had tried to recreate a face from memory and stitched it back together without understanding how expressions worked. Josh ran. The camera jerked violently, shaking with every footfall. His breath was ragged, panicked. Every so often, he'd glance behind him, but the hallways were empty, until they weren't. He turned a corner and the figure was there. Closer. Waiting. Josh screamed and dropped the phone. For a few seconds, the screen showed nothing but the ceiling, cracked tiles, flickering light. Somewhere off-screen, he was sobbing, saying over and over, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to." Then something stepped in front of the camera. Not the figure. Not Josh. Something else. It crouched down, stared into the lens, the live feed distorted, like static. Like the pixels were being ripped apart. Then it smiled, and the screen went black. The stream ended. We never saw Josh again. Not in real life. Not online. His parents filed a report. Search parties were organized. No one could find the shelter. The entrance he filmed didn't match any public records. It just wasn't there. Weeks later, I got a notification. _Josh_right is going. Love. I stared at it for a long time. Then, finally, I tapped it open. It wasn't his face on the screen. It was mine. Sleeping. The camera was inches from my bed, and I was already tagged in the stream. It was just after midnight when I got the message. I was lying on the couch, wrapped in an old fleece blanket, some true crime documentary droning low on the TV. The kind of night where everything feels just slightly off, too quiet. The air in the apartment a little too still, like the world was waiting for something to happen. My phone buzzed on the coffee table. I assumed it was spam or one of those late-night DoorDash promos, but when I looked, it wasn't a number. It was a name, Emily Harper. For a second, the name didn't click. I thought maybe it was a coincidence, someone else with the same name. Then, I saw the profile picture. It was her. I'd taken that picture, actually on a trip to the lake last summer. She was standing in the sun, squinting into the light, hair tied up in that messy braid she always wore, a Dr. Pepper in her hand. Weed? Laughed so much that day. She fell into the water trying to skip a rock and lost her phone. We spent half an hour trying to fish it out with a stick and a shoe. But the thing was, Emily was dead. Had been for 5 months. Car accident on Highway 183, right outside Cedar Park. A wet curve, a deer in the road, and then nothing. Her funeral was small, closed casket. I'd stood beside her sister, who didn't cry until the very end when the casket disappeared behind the curtain. The finality of it hit like a train. And now her Instagram account had sent me a message. I stared at it, pulse in my throat. The message was short, just 4 words, "Check your front door." My first reaction was to laugh, a hollow, nervous sound. It had to be a joke, a hacker, some glitch. I hadn't even looked at Emily's profile in months. I pulled it up, hands cold. Everything looked the same. Same old posts. The last one was a picture of her dog, Murphy, 2 weeks before she died. No recent activity, no new followers. No posts or stories. And the message had come from that account. I got up and walked to the PEEPHOLE. Nothing. I stood there for a long moment, hand on the knob, debating. My brain was still lagging behind what I was seeing, what it meant. Finally, I opened the door. There was a package on the doormat. Just a plain brown box. No tape, no label, no address. I stepped outside, heart pounding. The street was quiet. My apartment building sat near the edge of Bastrop, just off a feeder road and too far from downtown to ever be really busy, especially not this late. The air was humid, the night thick with that warm, sticky weight Texas carries in late spring. A single cicada buzzed somewhere in the trees. I brought the box inside and set it on the table. It wasn't sealed, just folded closed. I opened it. Inside was a photo. Just one. Of me. From behind. I was sitting at the kitchen table, head down, staring at my laptop. The time stump written in Sharpie on the bottom corner read, 11:46 p.m. That was less than half an hour ago. I hadn't heard anything. No camera click, no door creak. I'd been alone. Or at least I thought I had. Underneath, the photo was a key. Old, rusted. Looked like it belonged to a locker or a basement door. Attached to it was a scrap of paper. Just one word written in. Shaky handwriting. Murphy. Emily's dog. Murphy had gone to live with her sister in Austin. I hadn't seen him since the funeral. I didn't understand. I tried to call Emily's sister, Carly, but it rang twice and went to voicemail. I didn't leave a message. I sat there staring at the key in my hand for what felt like hours. Then, at 2:03 a.m., another message came through. You have to come. He's still here. There was no response when I typed back. Against every ounce of reason in my body, I got in the car and drove. Emily's old place was still empty. Her parents never rented it out after the accident. I pulled into the gravel driveway, headlights. Catching on the mailbox, the porch swing swaying gently like someone had just stepped off it. The house looked dead. No lights. No movement. I used the spare key from the fake rock under the step, the one Emily always joked was the worst hiding spot in the world. The air inside was thick and stale, filled with the scent of dust and old wood. Everything was where? I remembered it. The crooked lamp by the fireplace, the poster of the Shins in the hallway, the stack of unread mail on the kitchen counter. I called out nothing. Then I heard the scratching low, rhythmic, coming from the back room. I followed it down the hall, each step harder to take than the last. The door to the guest room was closed. The scratching was louder here. Not frantic, just steady, deliberate. I reached for the knob. The key in my pocket pulsed warm. I swear to God it did. I used it. The lock clicked open like it had been waiting. For me. Inside, the room was nearly empty. Just a chair in the center. And sitting next to it, staring up at me, was Murphy. But it wasn't him. Not really. His fur was matted, grayer than I remembered. And there was something off about his eyes, too glassy, too still. Like someone had poured darkness into them. He didn't bark. Didn't move. There was something in his mouth. I crouched. Slowly and reached out. He didn't flinch. A piece of paper. I unfolded it. It was a photograph. Emily. But not one I remembered. She was standing in the woods. Barefoot. Pale. Her eyes were wrong black like Murphy's. Her hands were extended. Palms up. And behind her, barely visible in the shadows, was a door. Not like any door I'd ever seen. Metal. Seamless. Covered in scratches, like something had been trying to get out. On the back of the photo was one more message. He followed me. Now? He's following you. The lights flickered. Murphy growled. And somewhere in the house, not behind me, but inside the walls, I heard something breathing.